Welcome to another business interview, another episode on our channel to know about the journey of promoters in their corporate journey. Today, we bring you a very special conversation with Yaap Digital as it steps into an exciting new chapter, that is its initial public offering on NSE Emerge Exchange. The company is soon launching its IPO. As the company now prepares to enter the public markets, let's understand the vision, strategy, and the growth roadmap. So, the merchant banker for Yaap Digital IPO is Socratimus, and also Fintreasure Solutions is a part of this. IPO platform by Chittorgarh.com welcomes Mr. Atul Hegde, the promoters of Yaap Digital, on this show and congratulates him on this significant milestone. We are bringing this interview in association with Treasure Solutions.
Thank you so much, Priyanka ji, for having me on your platform, and I look forward to a great interaction with you.
Thank you so much, sir. So now let's begin by talking about this journey with Mr. Atul that bought Yaap Digital at this point. To start with, would like to ask first question, how and when was Yaap Digital started and how has it been a journey since its inception?
So, Yaap is almost now going to complete a decade. The coincidence is that we received our first purchase order from Maruti on 5th March, 10 years ago, and this 5th March we will be listing. So it's quite an exciting time for us where these things are not planned. But yes, the idea of starting Yaap was, we saw a huge gap in the digital marketing space. There were companies which were doing only content. So there were creative companies who were doing, content for clients for across social media platforms. And there were companies that was purely doing tech. So they were building websites, they were building apps. There were very few companies that was doing both, right? And over a period of time, what we really dived in to do is to use tech, data, analytics. Of course, now in the last 7-8 months, AI has come in a big manner, and use that for creation of content. So that was the big, gap that we saw. We are glad that we got into it. It's been a very exciting last 10 years. We do 3 lines of services, which is what we call as design, discovery, and distribution, the 3 Ds. These 3 services we had on day one, and we continue doing only these 3 services even now. And we feel that one of the reasons for our success has been we have stuck to what we started with. So that's really been the journey of Yaap, from one small cabin to today 125 plus people, offices across the country, offices in Singapore and Dubai. So that in a very nutshell has really been our journey.
Okay, thank you for this. Now, since you have already mentioned that the services offered by Yaap are design, discovery, and distribution, the 3 Ds. So let's understand more about the category of services and what kind of services are we providing under these 3 segments.
Sure. So design, as it is self-explanatory, we do any form of design. So a client today might want something to be done for YouTube, they might want something to be done for LinkedIn, they want something for Facebook. For do we design? So think of it as content creation. Any kind of content that needs to be created, but most of this is created based on the data that we are able to gather, based on consumer insights, based on what is it that we can actually know about the market or the product category. So that's really design. We also do all forms of packaging design. So we had acquired long back a company called Elephant Design Delhi, and they had done the paperboard packaging, for example. So so we are also very strong design. From day one, we were very clear that if you have to build a very successful company, your design sensibility has to be very strong. So that was the reason, really the reason of getting into design. Then that's the first service. The second service is what we call as discovery. which is primarily influencer marketing. Right, we got into influencer marketing almost 4 5 years back when influencer marketing was just taking off. Today, it's a 5 to 7,000 crore industry in India. So we work with brands. Here again, we have built our own tech piece. So we are able to analyze what kind of influencers, who are their followers, what brand affinity. So much more than just doing some list on an Excel. The third part, what we call as distribution, is basically online media planning and buying. So if a client wants to take an ad on Google, wants to take an ad on LinkedIn, on Meta, on any of the digital platforms, we do media planning for them. So here again, we have created our own tech. So we have our own analytics, which tells us for a particular client, for a particular this, what is the best way to deploy their media monies. So that's what we do in distribution. And through the years, we have tried to go deeper and deeper in each of these services. Most of our clients today buy at least two of these three services. So they sit in very well. It also creates stickiness with brands to be part of it. But it at a very basic level, if today a brand wants to do any form of digital marketing, 90% of what they need is covered in these three services. Then if they want events, if they want PR and all, then they work with other specialists. But we do only this, and that's what clients come to us for.
So now when you are mentioning about the performance marketing and the creator economy, influencer marketing, so which is the most exciting for us, and where do we focus on?
So the way we have seen, we know the industry evolves. Right now influencer marketing is very hot. Right. So we are in that, but we are in that with a tech play. Right. Scale of business comes from distribution, which is large media planning and buying. That's what really adds to the top line of the company. Bottom line, which are basically fee heavy projects, comes from design and influencer marketing. So our focus here, and the way we have structured the company, we have senior partners who are driving each of these service lines. So it's not that one is a focus and the other is not, because we feel that it's very critical that for all three to be world class products and services for us to really be successful. So from a top line point of view, distribution drives the top line for the organization. From profitability point of view, design and discovery drives that.
Okay. So we can say that revenue contribution from design and distribution is more, right?
Revenue contribution top line, distribution is the highest, followed by design, followed by discovery.
Okay, got it. Also from the DRHP, we have seen that 77% of the revenue is contributed by the public sector. So is there any revenue concentration for us, or why, I mean, the public sector is contributing around 77% for us?
So, while they are classified as public sector, NPCI, which is one of our largest clients, is actually a quasi-public sector. It's not purely right? It's a JV between private banks and RBI. So while we have classified it as public sector, it's not a pure public sector company. Also, we've seen that 77% has now moved to about 50% while the business has grown. So we are seeing a lot more diversification among the client base that Yaap has. We added the Adani Group as a key client almost about 12-14 months back. It started with their Dharavi project, which is their landmark project for them. And now we have moved on to work with Adani Ports, Adani Foundation, So we are seeing that there is now a diversification happening across client base that we have.
Okay, got it. So when NPCI is the largest client for us, so what is the working capital cycle in that? Though it's not, I can understand that it's not a fully like a public sector, but is it influencing our working capital cycle or not? Because,
not at all. Not at all. We've had negative working capital for the last 3-4 years. Our collections are extremely efficient. Our average credit period to clients is between 30 to 60 days. We have negligible to no bad debts. So our financial processes have always been very robust. And most of the kind of clients we work are mostly blue chip clients. We do not work with a certain sector of clients if we are not sure about their financial ability, or we work only on advance payments with such clients. With most large blue chip clients, we have a credit period of 30 to 60 days, and that's never been a challenge for us throughout our 10-year history.
Okay. Now, also, we have understood that the company has grown inorganically also with acquisition of subsidiaries in the past. So, if you can highlight on these previous acquisitions by the company and how has it helped it grow?
Sure. So we acquired a company called Oplify in Singapore, which was among the first companies in Southeast Asia to get into programmatic media. Right. So we did this almost 7, 8 years back, and that time the focus, which is really our distribution part of the business, we wanted to build that. So Oplify brought in a programmatic desk. They brought in people who are specialists in doing online media, and today it's become scaled into a full-fledged media offering company. So that has really helped us. So that's where our top line comes from. That's really the third part of it. Then we acquired a company called Crayons in Dubai. Right, that made us go deeper into Dubai. We have a very large client in Dubai, which is Dubai Tourism, which is the world's largest tourism brand. And we wanted to expand into other clients, and we wanted a proper base in Dubai. So 3 years back, we had a great opportunity in acquiring Crayons, so we did that. So that's been part of this. Very early in the journey, what I mentioned, we acquired Elephant Design in Delhi, the Delhi part of it, which was really to bolster the design thing. So all our acquisitions, we have two principles that we follow. Either it's gives us a new geo, right?
Mhm.
So in Dubai, it helps us get into it, or it helps us to go deeper into our existing services. So Amplify ensured that we have a much robust offering in the distribution space. Elephant Design Delhi ensured that we have good offering in the design space. So that's really be our acquisition philosophy going ahead.
So, this has remained as a company strategy to grow, right? With
Absolutely.
inorganic.
Yes.
Yeah, but also we can see in the objects of the issue that through the IPO proceeds, you will also buy another company, that is Go Zoop, right? So
Yes.
you can throw some light on this also, like Go Zoop, when this transaction, when we can see this transaction coming up for you after the IPO, and how it will help you grow.
So the Go Zoop transaction is in its last stage. So I think within a couple of months of the IPO, we should be able to close it. Okay. Go Zoop again is very strategic for us. They have two lines of business, which is almost 50-50 for them. The first line is actually content creation, which falls in our design bucket, right? So Go Zoop, gives us access to newer clients. Okay. Second part of the business is a service called Hawk, which is basically social listening services that they have, which is now AI led. So it's almost like a social reputation management CRM program, right? So that actually straddles between all the three services that we have and helps us get more stickiness with the clients. So the whole, and they do not have distribution, they do not have discovery. So we are able to take two of our services to their set of clients. So that really helps that cause. So for us, it's an extremely it's a very reputed company, been around for 17, 18 years. So it's not like a 3, 4 year old company. Very good founders who have built it ground up. Culture fits in with the Yaap culture. So these are all the reasons why we zeroed down on Go Zoop.
Mhm. Okay. So, where this is based out of, Go Zoop?
Bombay.
Thank you for sharing this, Mr. Atul. Now, coming to my next point, as you have spoken about AI, and that GoZoop is also very much into AI. So, wanted to understand how Yaap Digital is leveraging AI automation and data analytics in our campaigns. And since these technological advancements are transforming the digital marketing landscape, so how we are positioned to compete against the other competitors.
Yeah. So, as we all know, it's still very early days for AI. We started adopting AI about 8 to 10 months ago. And we have one very clear objective about AI is that how can we drive efficiencies for our clients, right? So one thing is generative AI. So we now today use AI to create a lot of content, to generate a lot of content. So that helps us, scale up our content bucket for clients. So previously clients who wanted, let's say, 5 creative units, we can now give them 25. Right? Work happens faster. There's far more efficiency that comes in, but it's still very, very early days. Then we have used AI in data analytics, right? So in our media offering, we've now built a layer which is our own data layer using AI, which will help better targeting for clients. So today I can do better media targeting using that. In the content creator space, which is the discovery space, we use AI for better targeting. That an influencer today who has 1 million followers and an influencer who has 100,000 followers, 100,000 can actually be more useful to the brand if you analyze their followers better, if you see how active they are, if you see what brand affinity do they have. So all of that we have built this tech layer on top of that. So for us, primarily it is how can we use AI to get better data, better tech across the 3Ds, and that's what we're doing. And the same is what Go Zoop does with Hawk. How can you use AI to have better social CRM, better social brand reputation management for their clients? So that's what it is, but it's still very early days. We are very bullish on this. We feel that there's a lot. So one of the objectives is also, if you see our RSP, is also to build an AI studio. Right? So we are building a focused AI studio in Bombay, where we're going to have people only working and creating with AI. So yes, so very early days, but we have always been early adopters. Influencer marketing we started even before it became a buzzword. Similarly, we feel that the AI play across the 3Ds is something that will start giving us traction in the next couple of years.
So do you already have AI team already there in the company, or
Yes.
Okay.
Yes. So a lot of existing teams have been upskilled. They've been early adopters of AI. We also have a tech team. So we have an office in Noida, which is our tech hub. Okay, so we have a chief technology officer. We have a products head. Who's just basically seeing what are the new things we can roll out between the 3Ts using AI.
Okay, got it. Now, coming to the financials of the company, we can see significant growth in the margins in the DRHP in 2025 and also for the 9 months, December 2026, that are published in RHP. So the margins are good. But one thing I came across was that the revenue on annualized basis for December has actually is 120 CR for December 2026 if we annualize it, and for the last year it was 150 CR. So any reason for this fall in the revenue?
So Priyanka, you have to understand one thing in our business. Our Q4 is almost 45% of our entire year, right? And for advertising in general, H2 is 75% of the entire business. The advertising market kicks off from Diwali and peaks at IPO. So this period is when you have the maximum spends that happen. Even if you look at our last year numbers, okay, our Q4 would have been almost about 40-45% of our entire thing. So annualized is not the right way to look at it because of the seasonality in our business. We are primarily an H2 organization, and within that, Q4 is our most dominant quarter. Also we have a lot of BFSI clients. BFSI spendings happen from Jan to March. When people are doing their tax planning, when people are buying insurance, when people are, so that's when it happens. So that is what you're reflecting. So annualized is not the right way. So if I have to actually compare it to the run rate of last year, we are way ahead than last year.
Okay. So what would be we achieving in this FY26, if I can ask you, just an expectation?
I think we should be looking at least about 25 to 30% growth in bottom line, and top line should also be similar, at least.
Okay, understood. Now, when we are doing the IPO, from the IPO proceeds, we understand that the company is definitely going to grow. So what could be the growth prospects going forward on the top line and bottom line with funding from the IPO? So investors would like to understand what would be the next levers of growth for the company.
So, the way we have always seen, we always have two levers of growth for Yaap. One is organic, one is inorganic. Organically, we have seen that as an organization, 25 to 35% growth we have always done. But by the way, just to give you this comparison, the category is growing at about 14.5%, and we have always been double of the category. So that's one benchmark that we always follow.
Mhm.
Inorganic, with Go Zoop coming in, we are also looking at a couple of other companies which are unidentified as of now. We have spoken about Go Zoop in our RHP. So we feel that this strategy of, inorganic and organic together, should ideally in the next 3 years, we should be looking at a 40 to 50% growth year on year.
Mhm. Now we have also came across information that Yaap has done a pre-IPO funding just before the IPO, right? And well-known investors are associated with this. So if you can throw light on this, that how, what kind of pre-IPO funding you have done, and where will it be utilized?
Okay, so pre-IPO funding is really from the promoter quota because it came in very late. We had already filed our DRHP, we were already there. The reason for if you see even in our DRHP, there was, we never had any OFS. The whole idea was to raise funding for growth. But when we had a meeting with Sunil Singhania and Mukul Agarwal, we found partners who are happy to back our vision in the long term, right? And we needed somebody who understands capital markets, who have been savvy investors, and at the same time who have stayed with companies for a long term, right? So once we were, we are vision match saying that yes, we want to build something really big, and nothing gets built in a hurry. Everything takes time, right? So we wanted somebody with us who will stay the journey. Like I keep telling my people, it has taken us 10 years for the IPO, but unlike other companies, for us, the IPO is a starting point. It's not a culmination. There's no wealth cash out that any of the promoters are doing or any of the employees are doing. We think that the next decade is really there to build a large, media organization that we can do. So that's where the vision matched with both Sunil and Mukul, and that's how the whole deal happened. I mean, it happened very, very recently. So even if you see our timelines when we have filed, I think it's just happened some 2 weeks before the RHP.
What is the amount that you have raised through pre-IPO fund?
15 crores.
Got it. So we can see that two well-known investors have been associated with Yaap in this pre-IPO funding.
Yes, absolutely.
Thank you for this. Now, wanted to understand what are the, if we speak about the challenges and risk in this industry, in the marketing industry, digital marketing. So, what would be the challenges and risk for us going forward?
Okay, so one thing which is a challenge for the whole sector, but it doesn't affect digital, but I'll still talk about it is whenever there is an economic downturn, the first thing that gets cut is advertising budgets. If you see brands that are spending, the first thing they'll say they'll not spend. But during COVID, we saw that brands cut spending, but they spent more on digital. And the digital industry actually took off from 2020 onwards. Even if you see the Yaap numbers, we took off from 2020 onwards. So we have seen whenever there's a downturn, while advertising gets restricted, the money comes into digital advertising. So that's both a problem and opportunity together. What are the other things that we should look out for is that, like we started influencer marketing 5 years ahead of the curve, right? You have to have your ears on the ground. Now AI, we started AI almost a year back, right? So you have to analyze the trends that's happening. You have to differentiate between hype and a long-term trend, and you have to ensure that you integrate that into your services. Again, I keep coming that, I'll rather do boring business and do the same thing, but do that well. So we ensured that when we got influencer marketing, it was part of our discovery. When we got AI, it is part between discovery and distribution. So we want to go deeper. We don't want to do multiple things. We don't want to get distracted and say, ye bhi karenge, ye bhi karenge. Because now clients come to us, they want us to do everything. But we stick to the thing. So very important not to lose focus on that. That's the inherent risk that most companies can, that once you have resources, you want to try and do everything, right? Inorganic, there is always a challenge of integration, right? So we have to execute well on ground, right? The newer companies that we are buying, we have to ensure how we integrate them well. We have done it in the past. All our acquisitions, we've done it well, so much so that most of the entrepreneurs continue with us even after their acquisition, as senior partners in Yaap. So I think if we do this well, we should be pretty set in our execution plan.
Okay. Thank you for this. Now we have seen that utilization of funds, one of it is about and again acquiring another company. But where will be the other scope of utilization for IPO proceeds other than the inorganic growth?
I think there's the Go Zoop, which is the main thing. Then the AI studio we are setting up. Some of it is for working capital,
Okay.
which is going to be deployed. So these are going to be the broad three heads, which is basically get better products, get better talent into the organization. Look at newer markets. But again, for us, India remains our hub and base. Right, almost 87% of all our revenues come from India. We want to double down on India. The India story has just started off. We think that next 20 years is the time to build in India. So within India, we might see new markets. Like for example, we went to the Northeast 6 years back. Then it was just taking off because we saw that the Prime Minister was focusing on the Northeast. Today we work with multiple state boards for tourism in Northeast. Similarly, we will now bolster something in the South going ahead. So the idea is how do you get deeper into India and have better tech layers across the three services.
So right now, which geographical area is contributing the revenues for us?
So
Basically,
India is primarily, as I said, it's almost 87 to 90%.
yeah, but in India, I wanted to know which state, like
Bombay
either.
and Delhi.
Okay.
So the advertising market, let me tell you, in India, 70% is in Bombay and Delhi.
Now, my question would be on the competitors, right? Who are our peers?
The way we are structured, most of our competition is with the global networks. So there's WPP, there's IPG, there's Dentsu. These are very large companies compared to us. But the kind of services we do, like for example, in the distribution, the media, we are up against the WPPs of the world who are very strong in media. Right? When we do influencer marketing is when it's opened up. We work with most of the independents. So there's no like to like peer as such. Definitely none of them are listed. I think that's the other thing. Yaap listing will actually open doors for many companies like us. And I see that in the next 2 years, you'll see a lot more companies like Yaap. But today, the challenge for us is that there's no peer that is listed. There are some older companies from the advertising space that have got listed, but they're more in the offline. They're more in television, print, outdoor. Uh, you know, Pure digital AI tech-led, companies are very, very few that have got listed who do all the three services. So from a listed peer, there are not many in the market. Depending on the service we do, we fight with the big boys. It can be an Ogilvy for creative. It can be a Group M, WPP, Dentsu, IPG for media. In influencer marketing, it can be talent agencies, managers who manage influencers.
Right. So in an unlisted space, you are saying we have the competitors, right?
Yes.
And in the unlisted space, so what is giving Yaap Digital a competitive edge against these companies, the unlisted companies?
Yes. So two things is very important. I've seen that clients like to work with companies which have done work in similar categories and which have a portfolio to show, right? And building a portfolio takes time to show that I've done this case study, I've done this, that. Now with 10 years, with more than 250 awards, there's enough to showcase to clients. So this is something that you cannot build overnight. You have to either acquire a large company which has all of this, or you have to spend the time. First 10 years, we spend that time. So that is a real moat for us, right? Because see, anybody can start a digital marketing services offering, but to actually have that on ground and to talk to large corporations, you need a body of work. So that's one big differentiation. And second continues to be, using of data analytics tech for creation of content, for deploying that. That continues to be a secret sauce. And the third, in any service business, it's about the people, right? Our retention rates are among the best in the industry. Some of our people are with us from day zero. Most of our senior people is the same. We've never had change in senior management. Little things we do. We're a great places to work for 4 years in a row now. We're the happiest place to work for 2 years in a row. These are the things because people is the capital, right? I don't have factories that I set up here. People are real capital. So retention extremely important. So these are really the secret ingredients that differentiate us from the others.
But I think the attrition rate in this marketing industry is much more than any other industry.
Yes,
And
but ours will be the lowest. We have the lowest attrition rate. Also, amount of people for per crore of business, right? Like any other big company in our peer with our top line, like last year we did about 155, would be 300 plus people. We are about 120 to 130 depending on the.
My last question would be that I'm not sure about this, whether this kind of work we are doing, but what percentage of revenue comes from the long term retainer contracts versus the project based work? So we would be doing some project based work also, right?
So 75% comes from long-based retailers. Okay, in the first two, the discovery and design are where you typically have the retailers, especially in design, which is content creation. 25% will be projects. It could be a packaging project. It could be an influencer marketing project. So that's really our spread.
So when we're talking about this influencer marketing, so whom we are, connected with, whom we would be having a pool of those influencers, right? So how many influencers are we connected with?
So we are connected to more than 500,000 content creators. We don't manage any of them. So we are not a talent agency which manages influence. Right? So we have worked with more than 10,000 in the last 5-6 years.
Mm-hmm.
We have access to more than to a very very huge pool because we have data which can identify influencers. So our real secret is how can you use data to tell clients that use these influencers. Don't go after hype. Don't go after the same 500 influencers that everybody's going after. But we don't manage any of them, so we are not a talent agency.
Got it. Thank you, Mr. Atul, for sharing these insights and giving our viewers and investors a closer look at the story behind Yaap Digital. I'm sure the investors would find this information of very much use while deciding about their investments. Thank you so much. And again, would like to share the IPO details of Yaap Digital. Yaap Digital IPO opens on 25th February and closes on 27th of February. The shares will get listed on 5th of March. And the merchant bankers for Yaap Digital is Socratimus. And would also like to thank you, Fintreasure. Any other thing you would like to share, Mr. Atul, regarding the IPO size or the price band of IPO?
No, nothing. You've pretty much covered everything. Thank you so much for this interaction. I'm glad. I hope all your users find this useful. And thank you so much.
Thank you so much. Thank you, Mr. Atul Hegde, for being a part of this show. We'll continue bringing you the management interactions and IPO deep dives for our investors. Thank you so much.